Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. We've got a very busy show in store for you. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to play a press conference that Assemblyman Phil Palmisano held last week in regards to the HEAT Act. It's a little bit lengthy, but think of it as kind of a early Friday with Phil, because he has a lot of special guests in the press conference, and I think it's important to play. But it does take up a little bit of time, which actually works out very good because we're having some technical issues here behind the scenes. So we're going to play that in just a little bit. But first, let's go to viewer comments. Some of these were sent after the program on Friday. Here we go. Good morning. Well, good morning. Now that a politically motivated murder has hit walls close to home and a massive manhunt is underway to capture the perpetrator and has since been caught, I can only wonder how he feels about defunding the police, not to mention the military. And furthermore, how he feels about the inflammatory rhetoric the Democrats have been using to energize their supporters. It's a shame that it has come to a politically motivated murder. I wish all the best for those affected by this tragedy. But don't forget that because of said rhetoric, lunatics have twice attempted to murder our president. Thank God he is still with us. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Hope you enjoy King's Day. The coronation parade starts at 6. Don't miss it. Here Trump is coming in a golden chariot pulled by elephants with lions and tigers. All the nations will bring tribute and bow before the king. Thank you very much. Yes, we're going to talk about No King's Day, where it's so predictable, but you see the various news outlets saying mostly peaceful, which means some areas were not peaceful. We'll talk about that. Comment from Mark. Good morning. Well, good morning, Mark. They apprehended the man who shot 4 people in Minnesota, and the military parade was awesome. At 64, I'll never see another one. Well, yes, the parade was amazing. President Trump sending out a message to the media yesterday saying that President Donald J. Trump and the First Lady, along with members of his administration and military leaders, joined veterans, active duty troops, wounded warriors, Gold Star families, and patriotic Americans from all over the country in the nation's capital to celebrate the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army. Do you notice how the media always makes sure to get that note in there that it was also Trump's birthday, suggesting that this parade was all done for his birthday? What's the word I want to use? They're projecting that is why he held the parade. An iconic grand parade wrapped up a day of festivities celebrating the legacy of the U.S. Army and the generations of heroes who have protected the country, our country, with strength, selflessness, and bravery. And looking boldly forward to the next 250 years of patriotism and military achievement. As President Trump said in his remarks, quote, "Tonight we affirm with unwavering certainty that in the years ahead and in every generation hence, whenever duty calls and whatever danger comes, the American soldier will be there. No matter the risks, no matter the obstacles, our warriors will charge into battle. They will plunge into the crucible of fire, and they will seize the crown of victory, because the United States of America will always have the grace of Almighty God and the iron will of the United States Army." So we could talk about that. What were your thoughts about the parade? Also, getting very troubling or very concerning with what's happening in Israel, with Iran. We could talk about that. But as Mark had mentioned, arguably well, there's so many big stories. I shouldn't say arguably the biggest story, but a big story. The Minnesota suspect that assassinated 4 has been captured, or attempted assassination. Vance Bolter has been captured alive after that intense manhunt. You can see people are trying to, specifically the Daily Beast and some of the far left outlets, doing show prep this morning. They're trying to put a Trump spin on it, which I think is just disgusting. Let's find out what happened, why this guy did this. The manifesto had, 70 names of politicians he was going after, but suspected political assassin Vance Luther Bolter was captured late yesterday following an intense manhunt. He's accused of a Minnesota state lawmaker's murder and wounding another. Bolter, who is 57 years old and a former appointee by Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, was sought by police for allegedly shooting Senator John Hoffman and his wife, Yvette, and fatally shooting former Democrat House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband. Quote, after a 2-day manhunt and 2 sleepless nights, law enforcement have apprehended Vance Bolter, Walz said in a press conference. The armed accused killer was taken into custody without incident in a rural, wooded area in Sibley County, southwest of Minneapolis. After authorities received a tip about a possible sighting hours earlier. That's what state officials announced on Sunday night. Officers from multiple agencies, including SWAT, combed the area for hours and were assisted by helicopters using infrared cameras and drones. Bolter's capture ended the largest manhunt in the state's history, which lasted around 43 hours, involving at least 200 officers, and utilized federal, state, and local partnerships. He was ultimately arrested in a field where he crawled to the arresting officer and was taken into custody without any use of force, is what authorities are saying. His arrest was first announced by the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office, which posted a photo on their Facebook page with his hands behind his back and gripped by law enforcement. Quote, the face of evil, read the caption. After relentless and determined police work, the killer is now in custody thanks to the dedication of multiple agencies working together along with support from the community. Justice is one step closer. Bolter is facing 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder, according to a criminal complaint. Well, Bolter is facing 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder. Okay. He could also face federal charges. The alleged gunman disguised himself as a police officer wearing a uniform, vest, and a very, very unsettling and creepy Halloween mask when he launched his attack. Bolter exploited the trust our uniforms are meant to represent. That betrayal is deeply disturbing to those of us who wear the badge with honor and responsibility, said Bob Jacobson from the Minnesota Department of Public Safety. His rampage began at State Senator Hoffman's Chaplain home around 2 a.m. on Saturday. The crazed gunman fired off multiple rounds, striking the 60-year-old Democrat and his wife multiple times, seriously wounding the couple. Yvette Hoffman had jumped on top of her daughter, hoping to shield her from the bullets. John and Yvette Hoffman underwent surgery and are in stable condition. After the first shooting, Bolter, still disguised, raced to the home of Speaker Amerta Hortman in Brooklyn Park. He fatally wounded Hortman and her husband Mark with multiple shots. Hortman, a 55-year-old Democrat, was pronounced dead inside her home. Her husband died at a nearby hospital. Police conducted a check on Hortman after being alerted to the shooting at the Hoffman's home, confronted the masked killer as he left. Officers fired at the cop impersonator, at one point cornering the gunman inside the home, but the suspect managed to escape. So there you are. Kind of a quick overview. Now, the accused murderer allegedly had listed off about roughly 70 names of Minnesota lawmakers and abortion advocates in a manifesto discovered by the investigators. The politicians, activists, and reproductive health care clinics are believed to have been his other targets had he not been intercepted by police. Lawmakers who have supported abortion rights were reportedly on the list, a state official told the Associated Press. Now, David Carlson said Bolter had conservative political views, but rarely talked about politics and didn't seem overtly political. Quote, he was a Trump supporter. He voted for Trump. He liked Trump. I like Trump. Okay. There you are. That is an update. We don't know a lot about the man, Vance Luther Bolter. I know they're obviously putting political connotations into what he did and trying to tie him to one political party or another. The Daily Beast saying that he voted for Trump, but he was also appointed by Walz to a position. So we could talk about this. We also have updates on the various protests from throughout the weekend. Did you attend one of the protests? I'd love to hear from you. Did you watch the parade? What was your thoughts on the parade? Now, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, reading your comments here, but we also have a couple of waves coming in as well. But we are going to play, not in this segment, the next upcoming segment, but in the segment after, again, this press conference. I think it's really important because a lot of people don't know exactly what the HE Act is, especially now that they changed the name in Albany. Well, Assemblyman Phil Palmisano sent me their press conference, and I appreciate that. It's a little bit lengthy, but I think it's important. So just think of this as an kind of a Fridays with Phil on a Monday, because he had some special guests as well being interviewed. So that'll be coming up in just a little bit. But before that, we got to take a short break. Stay with us. Your comments when we return. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.
Frankly Speaking, Roof Cam is brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact Boss Security for all your business and home security needs.
We are proud to serve our country, to serve our local communities, to wear the uniform, to be a soldier, to serve abroad when and where duty calls. We are ready to stand with our brothers and sisters to defend, to serve, to fight. We're always ready, we're always there. We are the New York Army National Guard.
What better way to start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. Hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
When I'm in Elmira and Corning, I watch Big Fox.
If you are one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. Thank you so much for joining us. As I said, we're going to hear from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano in a little bit. Don't forget, I want to hear your thoughts. Tomorrow is the school budget vote, the second school budget vote. We can talk about that. We probably will in the 7 o'clock hour. What is your thoughts now that Corning Incorporated donated $1.8 million to the school? They have kept it under the cap, so it just needs 50% plus one to pass. Now, it was, keep this in mind, the first budget vote that we had, it was $146,804,840. It is now $144,234,430. We could take a look at some of the things they are cutting. Again, though, if you look at the donation from Corning Inc., not really cutting a ton. But would love to hear your thoughts on the school vote. But don't forget, tomorrow is the vote. So make sure you mark it in your calendar. All right, comment from a viewer. I was worried a king was going to take over thanks to Democrats. But Trump is still president. Thank you for saving our democracy and saving our presidency. Well, in that line, the New York Post editorial board, and this was from Saturday, so it's a little old, but it ties in directly with what that viewer is saying. They said, God knows today's right indulges in plenty of absurdly overheated rhetoric. But can Democrats please quit proclaiming the end of democracy over every trivial affront? The latest onset of fascism came when Senator Alex Padilla burst into Homeland Security Chief Kristi Noem's LA presser Thursday and got tackled by Secret Service agents who didn't recognize the crazy shouting man, then pulled out of the room in handcuffs. Democrats nationwide were shocked. Here in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul claimed the takedown of the California senator shocked the conscience. Mayoral frontrunner Andrew Cuomo called it part of Team Trump's push to silence opposition and undermine our democracy. AOC demanded a full investigation. And again, if any of these politicians that I just mentioned had someone screaming and yelling and running towards them, wouldn't they expect the same thing to happen? That person stopped, taken out in handcuffs? How do any of them want a Republican trying to hijack one of their events treated? Asked the New York Post editorial board. And if Noem was out to silence Padilla, why meet with him for 15 minutes afterward? It's not because she feared finger wagging from, say, Senator Cory Spartacus Booker. And all the hysteria ignores the simple fact that anyone who cares to can see for themselves on the video. Just as, yes, they can see ample images of the LA rioting that Democrats and their media enablers insist is mostly peaceful, when they're not denying there's any violence at all. Far too many on the left are used to closed conversations where no one will challenge this nonsense. It may work for winning cheers at rallies, getting clueless rich folks to cut you campaign checks, or group wallowing on blue sky, but outside your bubble, it just looks pathetic. And if telling a heckler, not now, is fascist, then every teacher in America would be wearing jack boots. That's the New York Post editorial board. Okay. So going back to the alleged Minnesota assassin, he was appointed by Tim Walz, but allegedly he voted for Trump. And the media is looking for his political affiliation. Cops believe that Vance Luther Bolter murdered a top Democrat state lawmaker and attempted to kill another Democrat politician. But he was also appointed to a state advisory board by Democrat Governor Tim Walz. Bolter claimed to have a doctorate of education and said he spent extensive time in the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa, where he was seen in videos apparently preaching on stage. So he was captured late yesterday. He had a list of 70 targets in that manifesto, including Tim Walz. You've seen the very disturbing images of him in the mask. Governor Walz described the killing of Hortman as a politically motivated assassination. His roommate said that he had conservative political views, but rarely talked about politics and didn't seem overtly political. Bolter lived with Carlson and another man part-time while he worked a job in Minneapolis, while his wife and children lived on a farm in rural Green Isle about 15 minutes from the big city. Following the shootings, he sent a sinister message to his friends saying, quote, "I'm going to be gone for a while, maybe dead shortly. So I just want to let you know I love you guys both, and I wish it hadn't gone this way." Now, we got to take a break. So, as I said, what we're going to do is take this break. Then we're going to play a press conference because I think it's very important that you know more about the HEAT Act as that makes its way through in Albany. Assemblyman Phil Palmisano last week had a press conference with some stakeholders describing how the HEAT Act will affect you. I mentioned a quote from it on Friday's program, but now I have the video from the presser. I think it's worth playing. It's a little bit lengthy, but just think of it as an interview from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. A one-sided interview where I don't ask questions. So that's when we come back. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox, stay with us.
Want to know why it's hard to stop a train? It's how we've invented products that reinvented our world. It's how we test as hard as the elements do. It's how we run.
Aaron's Heating and Air Conditioning in Corning is now offering residential plumbing services. A local, veteran-owned and operated company with over 25 years experience. You can trust the experts at Aaron's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Our residents, this is something they love. They put themselves out there doing the show, walking the runway, walking the risers. Every penny we take in on our tickets, on our raffles, sponsorship tables, all goes to Mount House. We sold out in 2 weeks.
First you hear it, then you feel it. That's the crunchy, melt-in-your-mouth feeling of Ritz Toasted Chips.
Every great performance starts with a great night's sleep. Thanks to new Natrol Sleep and Restore, which helps me be this me, this me, this me. I'm kidding. To be my best at all of this, I have to be my best at this. Every great night's sleep starts with Natrol.
New Natrol Sleep and Restore for your ultimate restorative sleep.
The Twitter's first prime-time local news. Catch weather, local and national news, events, and more with our anchors, Dante, Haley, and Ann. Find out what's happening in your community and more by watching Big Fox 10 p.m. News on
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio. We have a lot to cover, mostly in the next hour, because we have, right now we're going to play a press conference from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. I would love to hear your thoughts on the school budget, that vote coming up tomorrow. And to the viewer who sent in a message, I did see the video. I do believe if you're being honest with yourself, if you've ever attended a political rally or political event, you know that someone yelling a question going towards, in this scenario, cabinet member, you know that would not stand in any situation. So you can get mad at me. I don't care, but you know that there had to be security in that scenario. But again, I'm just doing my research on the internet, as you suggested. So, but I can also see. So let's go to that press conference from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. We've got some waves coming in. Keep your comments, keep your waves coming in. We'll talk more about the Minnesota assassin. We also have the No King's Day rallies taking place throughout the country. We'll be talking about that. But again, here's our press conference from Assemblyman Phil Palmisano. Stay with us.
Thank you all for being here for this press conference. Obviously, it's a busy time up here in Albany. I know the Senate's in conference. Actually, we're in conference, so some of our members were able to scoot out. but here to talk about an important message today. We're also joined by some stakeholders, some of who you'll be hearing from shortly. So recently a poll came out that said 71% of New Yorkers do not want a ban on natural gas. 76% of independents said that. 2/3 of New Yorkers, including 74% of Democrats, said they want a balance of the energy portfolio with renewables and natural gas. What they were reinforcing is they want energy choice. So earlier this week, the Assembly and Senate Democrats put out a new version of the HEAT Act. It has a new name. It's called the Customer Savings and Reliability Act. It's anything but that, but it has the same problem. The energy climate agenda being advanced by Democrats in New York State is not affordable, not reliable, and not feasible. Those three things are not a priority for the Democrats here in Albany. And I would dare say the governor as well, because she continues to advance and support these policies. What this new version of the HEAT Act does is really shows how completely out of touch Albany Democrats are with New York families and businesses. They simply are not listening. This at a time when families and businesses are struggling with some of the highest utility rates in the country. It's just going to exacerbate the affordability crisis that we're facing in the state. So keep in mind right now as we talk about this issue, 60% of New Yorkers right now utilize natural gas to heat. In some areas, it's 90% utilize natural gas to heat. 40% of our generation comes from natural gas. The HEAT Act and other policies like it, and with regulations that are being implemented, all go back to the CLCPA, which passed in 2019. The CLCPA is a Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, or so-called. Otherwise, the Green New Deal for New York to basically get to net zero generation by 2040. But make no mistake about it, the energy climate agenda being advanced by Democrats in the state is designed to dismantle the affordable and reliable natural gas infrastructure, supply, and delivery system. It is designed to take away consumer choice on how you heat your home, how you cook your food, how you power your buildings, and the vehicle you drive. It will jeopardize the reliability of the grid, leading to dangerous blackouts, and it will continue our nation-leading migration of more families, farmers, small businesses, and manufacturers leaving our state. Some of the biggest problems with the HEAT Act continues in this bill. It still authorizes the PSC to decommission and discontinue gas distribution beginning in January of 2030 in the full march to full electrification. The cost of this is very significant. It will significantly increase electricity demand, as it already is, which will increase electricity rates, and we know that natural gas is more affordable. This, despite these issues are really already being addressed by the PSC and utilities through gas planning proceeding that's studying the issues of affordability, study the issues of the pace of electrification, the ability of the electric system to reliably provide power for New York, all New York heating needs, the future role of alternative fuels like renewable natural gas and hydrogen, and to focus on safe and reliable service. But yet, here we are trying to advance this misguided legislation to appeal to climate activists. So I said one part of the problem is this, authorizing the PSC for the decommission and discontinue of natural gas service. Can you imagine them going to neighborhoods and turning off the gas for people and them not having the ability to say no? How disastrous will that be? And very costly, and I'll talk about the cost in a minute. The other part of the proposal is to repeal the 100-foot rule. Yes, the 100-foot rule is a subsidy that helped connect the first 100 feet, but it's used to reduce the upfront cost to build new homes and businesses. Now, the advocates for the HEAT Act and this new bill will say it's too costly, and will save ratepayers money, that is completely inaccurate. In fact, this will increase the cost of homes. This will cost good-paying union jobs, and this will increase utility rates for our customers. And keep in mind, when they say this can be a savings, the repeal of the 100-foot rule is not a one-to-one funding offset. This will be paid back through rates, but will be covered over a 60 to 80 year period. And think about it, when you add new customers to the service, you add revenue to the system. That helps pay and cover the utility's other fixed capital and operating costs, which will reduce what is needed for existing customers. As I said, the energy climate agenda being advanced by the Democrats in Albany is designed to dismantle the affordable and reliable natural gas infrastructure, supply, and delivery system. They simply want fewer people using the natural gas system, so they want to make it more expensive for them with the hopes they don't stay on the system, they can't afford to stay on the system, and move to electric heat pumps. So think about it. Fewer people on the system will increase the cost to others. You increase the cost and you decrease the reliability because renewables are not as reliable as natural gas. Their plan, as I said before, is not about affordability, reliability, or feasibility. Let me talk about some of the costs that New York families and businesses are facing right now with the implementation of the CLCPA and the programs that are being implemented. Right now, when we passed the CLCPA in 2019, we used a 20-year methodology to measure gas emissions. Every other state, minus one, uses a 100-year. The U.S. uses a 100-year, and international uses a 100-year. According to the state, not Philip Palmisano, if we do not change our methodology to a 100-year methodology, it will increase prices at the pump for New Yorkers by 63 cents a gallon and increase natural gas home heating costs by 79%. Here's another one. In July of 2023, the PSC approved $43 billion in future ratepayer increases to pay for the green energy mandates. Now, we all see the utilities going and looking to raise their rates, and yes, they're high. And when that happens, I see Governor Hochul and some of my Democratic colleagues saying it's the utilities' fault. But they fail to look in the mirror and recognize it is their policies that are creating this problem. Now, think about it. They want people off natural gas. Again, 60% of the people heat their homes with natural gas. 3 different studies out there said to convert your home over from natural gas to full electrification would cost $20,000 to $50,000 was estimated by the Climate Action Council, up to $50,000. The Consumer Energy Alliance said it would cost homeowners more than $35,000, and another study said it would cost homeowners between $40,000 and $50,000. Up to $50,000 to convert your home over from reliable and affordable natural gas to full electrification with heat pumps and higher electricity bills. Please tell me what senior citizen on a fixed income, what disabled veteran or disabled individual would sign up for that and can afford that and would want to do that to jeopardize the reliability and their affordability. We also know about the mother of all unfunded mandates with the electric school bus. We know about the regulations that are being placed, taking effect this year, the Advanced Clean Truck Rule and the Advanced Clean Car Rule, both of which will, if there is not a delay in the implementation, will devastate the trucking industry in the state of New York and the auto industry in the state of New York, and I want to get into those details. But let's talk about electricity rates. In 2019, before the CLCPA passed, the residential electricity rate was 17 cents per kilowatt hour. This year, in 2025, it's 26 cents per kilowatt hour. That is more than 40% higher than the national average. And we have a similar situation for commercial energy utility rates at about 50%. So that's cost. Let's talk about reliability. Several times we've talked about this. The NYSO just this week, or last week, put out their annual Power Trends report, basically sounding the alarm to the governor and the legislature that we have reliability thinness margins, and that's going to be dangerous, and it needs to be addressed. It's not safe. It's not safe for residential customers. It's not safe for commercial customers, and can lead to blackouts. Not to mention, in their report, they said they need to talk about possibly powering up shuttered fossil fuel plants. That's how serious this concern is being made. But another study that the NYSO said, to meet these green energy mandates, by 2040, we need 27 to 45 gigawatts of dispatchable emission-free resources. So the word gigawatt, for those of you who might not know, 1 gigawatt is the equivalent of powering 750,000 homes. So we need 27 to 45 gigawatts of dispatchable emission-free resources. They have no idea yet what that technology or resource is going to be. Is it going to be advanced nuclear? And nuclear needs to be part of the equation, I will say that. Will it be hydrogen? Will it be renewable natural gas? Carbon capture and sequestration? We simply don't know. And wind and solar doesn't count because it's intermittent, it's not reliable. Now, natural gas is often referred to as a bridge fuel. Well, tell me, do you tear down a bridge before you build a new one? No, you don't. You build a new bridge first, then you tear it down. But unfortunately, this governor and the Democrats in the legislature are insistent on tearing down the affordable, reliable natural gas infrastructure system, the bridge we have to the future. And let me be clear, we're not about saying no to invest in renewable technology, wind and solar. We should, and we are, but it should be part of a portfolio of fuel diversity. Because just like your 401k, you don't put it all on stocks, cash, and bonds. You diversify it to protect it, to make it more resilient, and that's exactly what we should be doing with our energy portfolio. Unfortunately, the governor and the Democrats in the legislature do not want to do that. So I talked about affordability, I talked about reliability. Now let's talk about feasibility. On top of that 27 to 45 gigawatts of dispatchable emission-free resources, we need a massive build-out, they estimate, to more than 120 gigawatts of generating capacity. Our current generating capacity in New York is 41 gigawatts. That's everything: wind, solar, hydro, nuclear, natural gas. And think about that huge amount of money that's going to cost in that massive build-out. It's not feasible. We keep saying, the reports keep saying, these goals aren't feasible, they're unattainable, so we need to pause and pump the brakes. But we don't see that happening coming from the governor and the majority. And quite frankly, in the CLCPA, there's language that says if the safety and reliability of the system is not there, we can pump the brakes on the CLCPA. Well, the NYSO has spoken, we should be pumping the brakes. And it's obviously, the Democrats in Albany have shown and continue to show their animosity towards natural gas. First, it started with the ban on fracking. Then it started with the attack on pipelines and not approving pipeline projects, even though they were approved by the federal government, finding ways for the state to deny pipelines to safely transport energy, natural gas in the Northeast, which is constraining the pipeline, is increasing costs for all. Then you see them deny air permits for new natural gas plants and even denying renewals for existing gas plants. And now, with this proposal, they want to authorize the PSC to decommission and dismantle the natural gas infrastructure system. They simply are not listening to the people and the businesses and the needs they're saying. Again, I will go back. 71% of New Yorkers do not want a ban on natural gas. 76% of independents agree with that. 2/3 of New Yorkers, including 74% of Democrats, want a balanced approach to the energy. They want renewable energy sources, but they want natural gas. That's what we've been talking about, a balanced portfolio. And let me tell you, and you're going to hear from business interests, when you talk to businesses about energy policy, they care about two things: affordability and reliability. And if they can't get affordable and reliable energy in New York, they are going to go elsewhere, just like they continue to do. There are other problems with this energy policy. We talk about the property tax that are not happening, the land use issues, the sourcing of materials for EVs, or energy security because of the fact that China controls more than 90% of the EV, or 90% of the rare earth materials and 80% of the solar market. And let's take it, this is all being done in the name of climate change and global emissions, right? But here's the fact. New York contributes 0.4%. Just 0.4% of total global emissions. China contributes 30%, has 1,000 coal plants. New York has no coal plants. Has 1,000 coal plants and building more every week. And if you want to add India and Russia, that's 40%. Do we think China, India, Russia are going to help us with our clean energy goals? Sure, we can get down to zero, but we're going to, along the way, we're going to devastate our businesses, our families along the way, and lead to our nation leading out migration. You've already heard enough from me. Now I want to pass it on to some stakeholders who joined us today to share their thoughts on this area that we're moving forward. So first, I would like to say too, some of our stakeholders couldn't be here, but they're part of our quotes. We have a quote from the Manufacturer Association of Central New York, from the Executive Director of Upstate New United, and also for the NFIB, National Federation of Independent Businesses, and also for the New York State Builders Association. But we do have 3 individuals here to speak today to share their expertise and their concerns with what's trying to be advanced with this new version of the HEAT Act. So first, I would like to introduce Ken Pekulski, Vice President of the Business Council of New York State. Ken?
Morning. Thanks, Assemblyman. You covered a lot of ground. I'll add a little bit. So our organization, we represent about 3,500 private sector businesses from across New York State, all sectors, and CLCP implementation has been a significant concern to us. We have been on the record opposing the earlier HEAT Act, and earlier this week we filed a memo in opposition joined by about 20 other business groups opposing the new version of HEAT Act. And I'll say the only reason there's just 20 groups on that is because we've only had like a day or two to circulate it and get comments. There is a significant concern in the business community about proposals to force the curtailment of the natural gas system, even though this bill may not directly impact businesses. And we have some questions about the detailed language in the bill on how energy-intense, trade-exposed businesses could be treated or bypassed under this bill. But as you curtail the system, as the Assemblyman spoke, as you remove users from the system, you do increase the costs of maintaining that system on the users who have no options, like some major industry in glass, in metals, and others. Very difficult, if not impossible, to electrify. You know, we've said it before, we're going to continue to say it. We support what we call an all options approach to moving forward with our greenhouse gas reduction goals. We think the state needs a natural gas system that can support the essential use of natural gas in industry, as well as future distribution of renewable gas and others. We also think there's a path forward where New York State can and should be investing more in weatherization efficiency, as opposed to limiting energy options. And I will say this, New York State several years ago passed a e-building mandate, which for most new buildings in New York kicks in 1/1/26. It's been recognized, at least anticipated, there's going to be areas of the state where the distribution grid is simply not going to be able to accommodate significant new building, particularly housing development. And that rule is going to recognize there's going to be if you can't get timely expansion of the electric power distribution system, you're going to be exempt from the mandate. It's somewhat ironic under this legislation, those new buildings who can't access electric power are going to be subject to a financial penalty for the essential need to hook up to the natural gas system. So we think we can see a number of concerns about how this will impact existing and future residential development. We're also, because of our nature of our membership, very concerned about the forced reduction of the gas distribution system, its ultimate impact on industrial and commercial users of gas. So, we say no. We say no to what we're referring to as heat light. Appreciate the invite today. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Ken. Next, I would like to introduce Dan Ortega. Dan is the Community Affairs Liaison for the Engineers, Labor, and Employer Cooperative, ALEC 825, but Dan is also the Executive Director for New Yorkers for Affordable Energy. Dan?
Thank you, Assemblyman. I want to begin by thanking the Assembly Republican Conference for their strong support, especially Assemblyman Palmisano. He's been amazing in all of these issues over the past couple of years. Here we are on the day that the Senate is scheduled to adjourn, and we're still talking about the HEAT Act. But the one thing that we're not talking about is affordability and reliability. While the bill has been around for several years, it's been amended, it's been renamed, but it remains really bad for ratepayers, jobs, customers, as it was when it was first proposed many years ago. The HEAT Act, or whatever name they may have given it recently, will increase the cost of 75% of New Yorkers. This is not a claim. This is not something I just made up. We know this because Senator Kruger, the main sponsor of the bill, admitted it over a year ago when she did a press release with many advocates to talk about the bill. In the press release, and I quote, 25% of New Yorkers will save an average of $135 per month under the HEAT Act. I'm not making math, but when you subsidize something for 25, the other 75% of the people are going to have to pay for it. And to me, that's a losing proposition. This bill also gets rid of the 100-foot rule, which obligates the utility to provide free hookups of gas service if the home or business is within 100 feet of a natural gas connection. Again, Senator Kruger says this is not a big deal because you can still pay for it. Well, yes, you can pay for it, but we're adding thousands of dollars more to a new construction, which we shouldn't be doing in an environment where affordability is a major concern for every single New Yorker. How can you look at a big price tag like that and say it's not a big deal? Further, getting rid of the 100-foot rule would drastically decrease the amount of union workers that operate and work on gas connections every day. Senator Kruger says that they will be retained and they will be trained as electricians. Well, part of the problem with that is that the state has not provided a single penny for training for anyone to stop doing the gas work that they're doing today and training to be in workers in the new system. Not a penny. In addition to that, as someone who works with union members to do construction, it takes at least 5 years for someone from beginning to end on training to be able to do this type of work. And as these bills have come back and forth into the legislation over the years, we still have not seen a single penny to train or to actually start a training program in the state of New York for these future jobs. Moreover, according to the New York Independent System Operator, New York needs much more energy in the incoming years. The promised transition to renewable is way behind, and it's going to cost a lot more than we were promised in 2019. The only way to keep the grid stable and the lights on and the heat on is to continue the use of natural gas. Right now, and I checked this a couple of minutes ago, 50% of the power throughout the state is because of natural gas. And just roughly 9% comes from renewables other than hydrogen and nuclear, which we don't count for as renewable. The last thing that New York needs is a policy that gets rid of our top energy source. In short, the HEAT Act is a disaster for workers, business, and consumers alike. Its goal is clear, no matter how hard they try to hide it. Get rid of the ability for New Yorkers to access and use safe, reliable, affordable natural gas in their home and businesses. In the HEAT Act, far-left politicians from Albany do not understand the economy or the utility industry. and once again are imposing their ideology views on everyday people without concerns for the cause. We strongly urge the Assembly and the Governor to reject this proposal put forward by the Senate majority, and instead to continue to champion common sense, affordability, and a stronger economy. One more thing. Anyone who's betting on the HEAT Act to do anything to reduce emissions all over the coast should be calling 1-800-GAMBLER. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. Our next speaker is Joe Peluso, Vice President of the IBEW Local 97. Joe?
Thank you. My name is Joe Peluso. I'm the Vice President for IBEW Local 97. I'm here to strongly oppose the Senate Bill 8417. All this bill does is accelerate the quiet dismantling of New York's natural gas system, which thousands of workers maintain today. We oversee thousands of utility workers underneath in our local and across all of upstate New York. This bill removes the obligation for the utility to cover the cost of the 100-foot rule that you all heard about today. If customers and builders cannot afford to do that on their own, they'll be forced to use all electric. This is not about energy choice, it's about pricing natural gas out of the future. New York has over 10,000 union jobs that contribute to the gas distribution system. Diminishing those is detrimental to the state's economy and middle class. Instead of banning gas outright, this bill solely pulls it out from underneath the workforce. This is not responsible energy planning. This is economic displacement with no net zero jobs to replace it. Gas is essential. As you've heard here, over 60% of the homes in New York State still rely on natural gas for heat, and customers want reliable and affordable service. If the state wants to change this direction, let's do it with the workforce in mind, not at their expense. This bill offers no workforce protections, no retraining, no job guarantees, just fewer hookups, fewer jobs, and fewer options for working people. We urge lawmakers to vote no. Let's build a transition plan that protects both workers and customers without losing sight of New York's energy goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Dan. Thank you to my colleagues that are standing behind me. Thank you to the media and everyone here today for covering this important issue. Certainly, we're at the final last few days of session. We know that the majorities have bills that they want to get done and work on. They should know if this bill comes to the floor of the Assembly, they should expect 4 hours of debate on this, at least 30 for me. So that's just going to be less time for other bills, but that's up to them. But I don't know why they would want to advance this piece of legislation, because it does nothing for affordability, reliability, or feasibility, and doesn't supply the consumer choice that 71% of New Yorkers want. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions if you have any questions for me, or any of us. Yes? Are you asking if the language in the new bill? I would, in my opinion, and I'm speaking for myself, and I think my colleagues from Western New York would agree, no, because number one, this still gives the PSC the authority to go in to neighborhoods and decommission and stop natural gas service being provided to people. Now there's supposed to be these regional plans they put in, regional transition plans, and there's supposed to be an opt-out, but it still has to be approved by the PSC. And how do you do an opt-out in this type of thing? And really what they're doing is, as I said, with the 100-foot rule, all I think it's really designed to make, the Democrats really don't want people on natural gas. They don't like it. We talked about their whole policy from fracking to the pipelines to denying air permits. They don't want people on gas, even though we're importing it from other states. So they want to make the cost higher for users. So if you use the 100-foot rule, you're going to have, it's going to cost more. It's going to increase homeowner prices. It's going to increase cost good paying labor jobs, and it's going to increase rates because when you have fewer people on the system, that's more people paying into the system, or less people paying in, so it's going to be more expensive, and that's why the 100-foot rule will be more costly. So, in my opinion, from what I've read in this bill that was just put out a couple of days ago, this will do. I don't think this is going to do anything to allay the concerns and fears that have been raised from the original HEAT Act, just because you still have that ability for the PSC to go in there and decommission and shut down natural gas service to neighborhoods. And can you imagine if you live in a neighborhood without any opinion from yourself, senior citizen, veteran, disabled individual, now they're told that they can't have natural gas? What is their option? Heat pumps. And as I said, to convert your home over from natural gas, and in Western New York, 90%, I've used the number 60% heat with natural gas. In Western New York, it's 90%. So imagine that senior citizen, that veteran, that disabled veteran or disabled individual. Now they're told they can't use affordable and reliable natural gas. Now they got to go out and get heat pumps. And it's not just buying heat pump. You have to deal with the shell of the property. You have to deal with electric upgrades. Why that cost could be upwards of $50,000 depending on where. In Western New York, that cost was $40,000, $50,000. So I don't think this is going to do anything to appease legislators from Western New York. And in my opinion, I think if you talk to Democrats from Western New York, I think they don't want to see this happen. There are a number of Democrats that don't want to see this happen. I hope it doesn't happen. But I won't rest until they gavel out for the last minute, because remember last year, the very last night of session, we were at a final Ways and Means meeting, and right in the middle of it, we got a call on saying we're taking up the Climate Superfund bill, and we passed that at 2 in the morning. So until that gavel bangs for the last time, whenever that is, I will not rest. Our conferences, Senate and Assembly conferences will continue to speak out on this. And if they want to bring this to the floor, that they should just be prepared for 4 hours of debate, and that's 4 hours less time to do their other bills that might be priorities for them. And this is not a good bill, period. Not good for New Yorkers, not good for families and businesses. And remember, when I talk about businesses, because business representatives here, when it comes to energy, businesses care about two things: affordability and reliability. And if they can't get affordable and reliable energy in New York, they will go elsewhere. And so this is just going to continue our nation-leading out-migration of more families, farmers, small businesses, and manufacturers leaving the state of New York. This shouldn't advance, and hopefully it does not advance. Thank you. Any other questions? No? All right, thank you all for coming. Appreciate being here.
Attention, Elmeron may lead to vision loss.
If you have suffered vision problems after taking Elmeron to treat bladder pain, call the Hearn Law Firm. Elmeron may be responsible for your vision problems, and you may deserve compensation for your injuries.
If you took Elmeron and now have vision problems, call the Hearn Law Firm at 888-308-3866 right now. You could find out if you qualify in less than 2 minutes. Call 888-308-3866 for your free case review.
I have type diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily, Jardiance, at each day start. As time went on, it was easy to see I'm lowering my A1C.
And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death too.
Serious side effects include increased ketones in blood or urine, which can be fatal. Stop Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, tiredness, trouble breathing, or increased ketones. Jardiance may cause dehydration that can suddenly worsen kidney function and make you feel dizzy, lightheaded, or weak upon standing. Genital yeast infections in men and women, urinary tract infections, low blood sugar, or a rare life-threatening bacterial infection between and around the anus and genitals can occur. Call your doctor right away if you have fever or feel weak or tired and pain, tenderness, swelling, or redness in the genital area. Don't use if allergic to Jardiance. Stop use if you have a serious allergic reaction. Call your doctor if you have rash, swelling, difficulty breathing, or swallowing. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have new pain or tenderness, sores, ulcers, or infection in your legs or feet.
Jardiance is really swell, the little pill with a big story to tell.
At
Simmons Rockwell Nissan, you'll find brand new 2025 Nissan Rogue SV all-wheel drives for only $30,999. Make car buying simple. Drive your deal at Simmons Rockwell Nissan in
Trust your smile to Dr. Hench's at either Watkins Glen, Elmira, Horseheads, or Elkland Family Dentistry. All 4 locations provide cutting-edge technology to make sure your visit is comfortable and stress-free. Dr. Hench's offers treatment in all areas of dentistry, including same-day crowns, implants, root canals, oral surgery, and treatment for all ages. For the best dental care in the region, trust Dr. Hench's and his staff at Watkins Glen, Horseheads, Elmira, and Elkland Family Dentistry. Call any one of his offices today or visit them online for more information.
Since 1983, Nissan has been assembling award-winning vehicles for you, right here in America. And we're committed to keeping our lineup affordable and free from new tariffs. That's why we've lowered MSRP on our best-selling Rogue and Pathfinder. So you can get the car you want, at the price you want, knowing Nissan is here for you at the Nissan Summer Sales Event.
Now get 0% APR financing for 60 months on Rogue or Pathfinder, or get a low $239 per month lease on Rogue.
If you or loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back as we broadcast live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. We do have to take another short break. Obviously, Phil's press conference was a little long, but I thought it was so important that I wanted to bring it to you. So let's go to the Steuben Senior Services Fund section of our program. Steuben Senior Services, empowering seniors to age at home. This is where we read viewer comments. Here we go. Before we wrap up, well, kind of begin hour number 2, just a little bit late. Democrats' hypocrisy, calling Trump a dictator while hanging the North Korean flag on the White House fence. Thank you very much. Comment from Mark. It seems to me the man who shot 4 and was employed and let go from Tim Walz had a grudge. And for them to turn this around and blame Trump is absolutely ridiculous. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Ken writes in, Frank, on Deface the Nation, Senator Alex Padilla, an unknown senator from California, got what he was out to achieve. He got national recognition, provided another Democrat talking point to attack, we'll say, the Trump administration, and he got praise from Margaret Brennan. Yeah, no surprise. I mean, if you think of Cory Booker getting all that attention for just reading, well, not even reading a speech, but just ranting on for 25 hours and 5 minutes without accomplishing anything, and he became the face of the resistance, there's no doubt that Padilla would become kind of the new face of the resistance, and he got exactly what he wanted, national attention, pat on the back from the liberal media. So you're right, Ken. That's what he was striving for. He wanted to get handcuffed. He wanted to be brought down because, listen, I don't care what political party you're in. As the New York Post put in their piece, what if a Republican was rushing a Democrat congressperson? Same thing would happen. So to suggest that it had something to do with silencing him, it's nonsense. Comment from a different viewer. Everyone in New York State needs to watch Phil's presentation. I agree. That's why I played it. I know it's a little long, but I thought it was very, very important. So I'm glad that it seems as if everybody's very happy that I played it. This coming from a different viewer regarding Phil's report concerning the Democrats' agenda against the constituents of New York. Aren't these closed, narrow-minded radical Democrats aware of the newest Gen 4 nuclear power plants? If they are so determined to further the destruction of New York State, they need to be sent a clear message. Vote them out. Haphazard, shallowly conceived whims do not belong in politics. Furthermore, given their insistence on going entirely green, leads me to conclude that they have a vested interest in these unreliable energy sources and therefore stand to become even richer than they have become on the backs of New Yorkers. Thank you very much. Comment from Ken. The push to electrify everything in New York and eliminate fossil fuels is simply explained. The Democrats are heavily invested in renewable energy futures. So that's two in a row. Two comments that have the same mindset. Investing in futures on renewable energy sources that the Dems will forcibly implement will grow their portfolios by millions of dollars. These laws being passed by New York aren't about saving the planet. They're about increasing the Democrats' personal wealth. Thank you, Ken. And Jack writes in, Jack says, I was in the road materials business for over 30 years. 80 to 90% of paving material manufacturing relies on natural gas. Our original blacktop plant used diesel fuel. It was extremely expensive and difficult to meet EPA exhaust gas standards, as well as the need to rely on trucking to haul in the fuel. We converted our facility to use clean, burning, reliable natural gas. Any rise in natural gas prices gets passed on to the consumer. It's a fact of doing business. I haven't heard of any mention of the impact of rising natural gas prices on the cost of building roads. Thank you for showing Phil's presentation. Well, you're welcome, and I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that everybody enjoyed it, and I will pass along a note to Phil and let him know. So when we come back, we'll talk more about Vance Luther Bolter. He is the alleged Minnesota assassin. We also have a few things here about the No Kings rallies. Did you attend? What were your thoughts? We can also talk about the school budget, which that vote in Corning Independent Post is tomorrow. They just need 50% plus one. Your thoughts? Are you going to vote? What's your vote going to be? That and a lot more when we come back. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Hey, this is John with John's Tree Service. Spring is here and summer is coming. Do you have a tree in your backyard that just doesn't look nice? Kind of makes your property look a little rough? John's Tree Service, licensed, insured, locally owned, and rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. Do you have a monster tree in your backyard? Is there no access to it? Can it not be climbed? Is it too dead? We can put our crane and reach over your house and pull that tree down, do it in a safe manner. Coming to a neighborhood near you to service all your tree needs. Call today at 607-377-6513.
Scammers is a huge problem today. Worldwide, seniors lost $4.8 billion to scammers in 2024. The Steuben County Office for the Aging is here to help. Come to our seminar, Recognizing and Avoiding Financial Scams and Identifying Elder Abuse, Monday, June 18th at the Centenary United Methodist Church in Bath from 1:30 to 4 p.m. Learn how to identify scams, how to protect yourself, and fraud watch tips. Come to Centenary United Methodist Church in Bath, New York from 1:30 to 4 p.m. on June 18th. Learn more. Go to steubencountiny.gov/235.
Every great performance starts with a great night's sleep. Thanks to new Natrol Sleep and Restore, which helps me be this me, this me, this me. I'm kidding. To be my best at all of this, I have to be my best at this. Every great night's sleep starts with Natrol.
New Natrol Sleep and Restore for your ultimate restorative sleep.
William Mattar has been a great brother, but I was surprised to learn how many people knew he was my brother.
William Mattar's on this?
Oh, brother.
Because when Big Insurance finds out that he's on a car crash case...
So who's on this?
They hired William Mattar.
Oh, brother.
Word travels fast.
You know, they got Mattar on this. Mattar?
Oh, brother.
Hurt in a car? Call my brother, William Mattar. 444-4444.
You don't have time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tub and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Okay. We have internet. Easy.
It is all coming together.
When's the mattress coming?
Friday.
Plumber?
Tuesday. Curtains?
Next week.
This is nice.
This is nice. It's all coming to...
Connect first, unpack later. Set up in minutes with self.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Earlier, we played that press conference with Assemblyman Phil Palmisano during our Steuben County Office for the Aging section of our program. Steuben County Office for the Aging, committed to maximizing quality of life, safety, and independence. We appreciate the Assemblyman for sending that in. All right, let's go to the Steuben Senior Services Fund section of our program where we read viewer comments. Comment: so I understand New York State is a prime example of one-party socialistic rule. Doesn't matter what the people want overwhelmingly. It is what they decide without any hesitation. We might as well live in Russia. New York State is no different. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. I'm hoping someone will watch this and address the issue. We live in Pennsylvania, drove to Corning Hospital yesterday and missed the exit. We rarely go there and miss it every time. There's no signage for this facility. We then turned around at Big Flats, came back, no signage again except at the exit. If you're in the passing lane, unfamiliar with the area, you'll miss it. What's up with that? Can someone please deal with this? Can't believe this isn't important to this facility. Thank you for an awesome, informative show. Well, thank you very much for that nice comment at the end. We will pass that along. We will let some people know. I am kind of surprised that there isn't, I've never thought about it, signage for the hospital. So thank you very much. Now, we were talking about Vance Luther Bolton, who has been apprehended. He is the alleged Minnesota assassin. Former Minnesota Vikings and University of Minnesota football player Jack Brewer decided to speak out early on early Sunday morning before he was captured. And he criticized Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for allowing the state to become the capital of chaos, as he put it. He said, we need to start calling it what it is. These people have lost their mind. I'm heartbroken to see one of the most amazing states in America completely turned around under Governor Tim Walz. Minnesota is confused. I played for the Vikings. I played for the Gophers. I lived in Minnesota for years. It was not like this. People were respectful. People could disagree and still have conversations. I still have a lot of family there, and it hurts to see what they're living through. Minnesota has become the capital of chaos in America. That's not right. It's not a reflection of the true people of Minnesota. There are a lot of good people there, but the liberal hub around Minneapolis and St. Paul has taken over, and it's dangerous. Tim Walz is the leader of that. His Attorney General, Keith Ellison, is right there with him. And that's kind of what we're dealing with in New York, kind of the, obviously the city running Albany politics. Now, Walz's office did not immediately respond to Mr. Brewer's comments. He said, on this Father's Day, I wish Minnesota would focus on restoring fatherhood, protecting women, protecting families. Tim Walz is the example of a weak, emasculated leader. That is not what God made fathers to be. It is pathetic. It's terrible, the root cause of all this evil. When you're willing to attack, ridicule, riot, and protest anyone who believes something different, even in your own party, you've gone too far. The Democrats have gone so far left that if you're not a raging liberal, you're under attack. They're forcing everyone in the party to conform. Whenever you give Satan power, he shows his face. That's what we're witnessing now. So that's ex-Viking player blaming weak, emasculated Tim Walz for these assassinations. So, also, we haven't talked about this yet. I know I got to take a break already. We're busy. Got people waving. All right. Nice. Very nice. We've got... oh, look at all these comments coming in. My goodness. Did you see, at a time we talk about the media, we're going to discuss about No King's Day. And clearly the media was all in on this No King's Day. They hated the Army celebration, making sure to highlight that it was because of Trump's birthday. That's what they kept saying. Then you had the No King's Day, mostly peaceful rallies, which we know in many instances, not so peaceful. but they love this No King's Day. So much coverage. The Hill had a rundown of everywhere you could go to attend. CBS went a step further to lose more credibility, if they have any credibility to begin with, to show their true colors. We're going to talk about that when we come back and read all of your great comments. Keep them coming in. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Attention, Elmaron may lead to vision loss.
If you have suffered vision problems after taking Elmaron to treat bladder pain, call the Hearn Law Firm. Elmaron may be responsible for your vision problems, and you may deserve compensation for your injuries.
If you took Elmaron and now have vision problems, call the Hearn Law Firm at 888-308-3866 right now. You could find out if you qualify in less than 2 minutes. Call 888-308-3866 for your free case review.
Harder makes it hard to keep your home looking like the work of art you've always envisioned it would be. Culligan softeners reduce hard water buildup and your cleaning time, transforming every drop, every splash, every rinse into the fine art of a long-lasting clean. With a Culligan water softener, revel in the breathtaking beauty of your home, just the way you've always pictured it. Culligan, water you love.
When you're on, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Every great performance starts with a great night's sleep. Thanks to new Natrol Sleep and Restore, which helps me be this me, this me, this me. I'm kidding. To be my best at all of this, I have to be my best at this. Every great night's sleep starts with Natrol.
New Natrol Sleep and Restore for your ultimate restorative sleep.
Catch Twin local news and weather by visiting WYDCTV.com. We've got daily and weekly weather forecast, question of the day, things to do, and more. WYDCTV.com, your website for everything.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to the Steuben Senior Services Fund section of our program and read viewer comments. First up, before the Army birthday parade, the mainstream media was crying about the roads. I watched and saw no destruction, just hype. So some Democrat can make millions on fake contracts to fix nothing. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Oh, I should add, good morning, Frank, from Misty Caton. Beautiful Caton. Thank you for writing in. Thank you for showing Phil's presser. It's extremely important that more New Yorkers see it and understand how dangerous He Act 2 is. Whatever nonsensical name the Albany Democrats want to call it. Yes, I can't remember what the new name for it is, but it's one of those scary names that you know you're about to get robbed because it'll say something about like reliability and money saving or something like that. But you're exactly right. Comment from a different viewer. I will vote again. This is on the school budget, according to Painted Post, and my vote will be the same. An empathetic no. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Phil's video was great, and he is right. Electric is not the way to go. I burn wood for heat. I'll bet that will be attacked too. I actually thought it was already attacked. I know that they're not fans of it. I will put it that way. Mark writes in, voting no to the school budget. They have not lowered the ridiculous pay scale. Thank you very much. Yes, make sure you get out and vote tomorrow on the budget. Now they just need 50% this time, plus one, of course. So it's going to be a tough one. So get out and vote. Last comment in this section. Call him what you will, but it is undeniable that President Trump is doing what he said he would do and what we elected him to do. I would agree. None of this comes as a surprise. But as I mentioned, the media loved reporting on the No King's Day protests, right? Well, CBS took it a step further. CBS News, now facing backlash after they posted what appeared to be an advertisement for No King's Day protest merchandise. They posted it on Twitter on Friday. Thousands of people were expected to rally, of course. We heard all about it. Well, they said the demonstrators under the slogan No Kings described it as a day of defiance against President Trump and his allies, while others have been calling for the president to be dethroned. Author and senior analyst for strategy at the Center for Security Policy, J. Michael Waller, slammed CBS News for marketing radical merchandise on the eve of the nationwide protests/riots. Another Twitter user, a writer for a conservative news outlet, mocked the news outlet for doing free advertisement for Chinese-made left-wing protest merchandise. Molly Hemingway, editor-in-chief of The Federalist and a Fox News contributor, criticized the liberal news outlet for no longer even remotely pretending to be news and for embracing its role as Democrat propagandist. What they had tweeted out is, No King's Day merch for sale on Amazon, Temu, and other e-commerce sites. That's it. Just a complete ad on their Twitter page from CBS News for No King's Day merchandise. Another Twitter user questioned whether CBS News advertising merchandise for a political event violates any FCC guidelines, slamming the outlet's decision for being highly unethical. This is not the only controversy CBS is currently embroiled in. Their president and CEO, Wendy McMahon, announced she was stepping down in a stunning move from the embattled company. Her exit follows that of a longtime 60 Minutes producer, Bill Owens. We know all about that. We still have that lawsuit where Trump rightfully is suing because of the, almost you could say, propaganda that they gave Kamala Harris with that 60 Minutes selectively edited interview. So CBS, again, proving their bias by just tweeting out where you could buy No King's Day merchandise. Now, Miranda Devine from the New York Post, who now has a podcast, I understand, she interviewed President Trump last week. I caught a little bit of it. Very good. She says Army's 250th anniversary parade was a celebration of America, unlike the foolish No Kings protest. This weekend's grand military parade in Washington to celebrate the Army's 250th anniversary was a feel-good, patriotic triumph and a rebuke to Democrats and their mean-spirited, small-minded anti-Trump protests. Many of those protests leading to violence and destruction. But again, the media presenting it as mostly peaceful, which has become cliche and kind of laughable when they use that term, but they don't care. It's just like when they say former Maryland man, when they talk about Abrego Garcia, who's in El Salvador, an illegal immigrant with the connections, alleged connections to MS-13, human trafficking, of course, a serial wife abuser. Again, former Maryland man is how they present him, just like these mostly peaceful protests. But we'll continue. America has the mightiest army in the world. It's something to be proud and patriotic about. Why not celebrate? She asks. I'm going to read more of this. I just looked at the time. We're running a little bit late. What were your thoughts of the parade? Did you happen to catch it? What did you think of the No Kings protest? Boy, we're moving fast this morning. We're having a great time. Everybody's commenting. Everybody's sending in waves. I do appreciate it. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking. After this, stay with us.
I'm Marianne Crawford. I've lived here for 70 years, but I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Lease a brand new 2025 Chevy Equinox 1LT all-wheel drive with GLE Loyalty or Conquest bonus for only $359 a month for 36 months. Make car buying simple. Drive your deal at Simmons Rockwell Chevrolet in Bath.
I have severe plaque psoriasis, but thanks to Skyrizi and clearer skin, I'm all in. With Skyrizi, I saw dramatically clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
With Skyrizi, nothing on my skin means everything. Ask your dermatologist about Skyrizi today. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Every great performance starts with a great night's sleep. Thanks to new Natrol Sleep and Restore, which helps me be this me. This me. This me. I'm kidding. To be my best at all of this, I have to be my best at this. Every great night's sleep starts with Natrol.
New Natrol Sleep and Restore for your ultimate restorative sleep.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. So many comments coming in. Loving it this morning, everybody. Thank you. Let's go right to them during our Student Senior Services Fund section of our program, where we read viewer comments. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Have a wonderful day. Well, you too. I appreciate you sharing Phil's views. I totally agree. Well, thank you. I'm glad that was such a hit. I was apprehensive because it was so lengthy, but I knew it was very, very important. So I'm glad that you all enjoyed it. Comment from a different viewer. I love the parade highlighting the rich history of the United States Army, from revolution to modern. Thank you, America. Yes. Thank you to our Army. Thank you to all who have served. Ken writes in, think about the 100-foot rule, which will force the utilities to spread the installation cost of gas to customers farther than 100 feet from the main amongst all natural gas consumers. It will increase costs for all customers while dramatically decreasing cost to a single customer. Who would that single customer typically be? Building a home further than 100 feet from a road where the mains typically are is not affordable by the average person. Wealthy people build homes farther off the road, usually much farther than 100 feet, possibly thousands of feet. These people could include our well-paid New York Democrats and their wealthy donors. So this rule would be financially beneficial on both ends. Cost to get gas to their mansions and funding their future renewable energy portfolios. Thank you very much. So we're talking with what Miranda Devine had to say about the Army's 250th anniversary parade, comparing it with the No Kings protest. She said, what the Army's anniversary parade shows, with uniforms dating back to the Revolutionary War, 6,600 soldiers, 150 vehicles, and 50 helicopters participating, not to mention a robot dog and drones. The parade was a display of pride in our troops and their awesome weaponry. But importantly, it also stood as a warning to our adversaries at a time of global peril amid the specter of war in Iran. Quote, time and again, America's enemies have learned that if you threaten the American people, our soldiers are coming for you, said the president in a brief but what many are calling a stirring speech. It lauded the grit of America's soldiers without mentioning Iran or any hostile nation by name. Nonetheless, the warning was clear. Quote, your defeat will be certain. Your demise will be final, and your downfall will be total and complete because our soldiers never give up, never surrender, and never, ever quit. They fight, 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 and they win, win, win. Here was the unmistakable echo of the moment almost a year ago when President Trump rose to his feet after surviving an assassin's bullet, blood streaming down his face, fist raised, and uttered those immortal words, fight, 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 which led him, of course, to win, 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 to the never-ending chagrin of the Trump deranged, said Miranda Devine. But that was the only self-referential moment in the parade. The crowd spontaneously sang happy birthday to the president, but Trump seemed content to let the Army be the star of the day. Of course, his detractors sneered that the parade was a self-aggrandizing display to satisfy his ego because it coincided with his birthday. And you saw that in the media's coverage. So just as CBS and others, and CBS specifically, hawking No King's Day merchandise, you have this downplaying. Many of the mainstream media outlets, other than Fox, I don't think anybody actually showed coverage. They had, their second or third channel that you have to find somewhere was broadcasting, but it was not on the major, if you will, legacy media broadcasts. But of course, very focused on the No King's Day. But I'll continue. But Saturday, June 14th, really was the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States Army back in 1775. Quote, "There was an army before there was a nation," was the motto of the day, something worth remembering. Another way of putting it is there would have been no nation without an army. Peace through strength is not possible without the military. June 14th was also Flag Day, commemorating the adoption of Old Glory as the official national flag by the Continental Congress on June 14th, 1777. It was Providence that Trump's 79th birthday also was June 14th. Also, the forecast of bad weather did not rain on his parade, even though Minnesota Governor Tim Walz wished it would. In any case, plans for celebrating the Army's 250th birthday were already in the works under the last administration, but Joe Biden would have a couple of tanks, maybe a fitness event, and probably some other displays. Whatever he decided, it would have been an embarrassment. Biden is the reason the Taliban threw their own military parade with our equipment after his botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. So Democrats should really have kept quiet rather than rail against Trump's parade as a vulgar, authoritarian abomination and a waste of money, as if they ever cared about wasting money. They do know a thing or two about vulgarity, though. But the estimated cost of Saturday's parade, $25 million to $45 million, is a steal considering the military spends nearly $2 billion a year on recruitment, money down the drain during the woke Biden era, but now recruitment is soaring. Targets for the year were met in just the first 5 months of the Trump administration. This success is not what the Hate America First crowd wants to focus on. So the Democrats and their militant proxies staged a series of protests/riots across the country on Saturday to take attention away from the military parade using various branding efforts, the most preposterous of which was No Kings. What a flop. The irony of shouting No Kings at a parade honoring the Army that freed America from a king seemed to be lost on them. Trump made a mockery of the No Kings without even trying when he joked to reporters asking about the protests. He said, "I don't feel like a king. I have to go through, we'll say, heck, to get stuff approved." From Alex Padilla and Alexander Vindman to Maxine Waters and LaMonica McIver, all the Democrats have are ugly stunts and a compliant media, a media that wants to promote them, celebrate them. California Senator Padilla's performance on Thursday when he disrupted Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's LA press conference and had to be forcefully bundled out by Secret Service was designed to add fuel to the Democrat narrative that Trump is a dictator. That was his goal the whole time. We know that. Just as Ken wrote in, he got what he wanted because the media praised him on the Sunday shows. But Padilla is a big man and was moving toward the podium where Noem was speaking and interrupting her. It was clear he had bad intent. What was the Secret Service to do during heightened tensions but protect their assigned politician and remove the threat? The murder 2 days later of a Democrat politician in Minnesota by a suspect linked to Governor Walz brought home the threat hanging over all of our political leaders. Shame on Padilla for causing the ruckus. Vindman, a hero of the resistance and the first Trump administration when he triggered the first impeachment, was similarly unhinged. He took to Twitter last week to display his toxic rhetoric that I cannot repeat on the air. Democrat New Jersey Representative LaMonica McIver was so violent and out of control during a protest outside a Newark immigration detention center that she had been indicted on federal charges for assault and interfering with immigration officers. We all saw her unhinged behavior on video, quite unseemly. Democratic California Representative Maxine Waters doesn't know any better, even at the age of 86 years old. She tried to force her way into a federal immigration detention center, requiring National Guard intervention to block her path. Democrats are simply bitter and angry because Trump won back the presidency and is winning over the former voters day by day. The more the country does well, the more vengeful they become. Alex and Alexander and LaMonica and Maxine were perfectly content when President Biden and his grifter family were in their White House, handing control of our border to criminal cartels who brought in untold thousands of killers, rapists, and gangbangers. They love that. But now that the border is closed, inflation is under control, and blue-collar wage growth is at record highs, they have lost their minds. So the clear contrast between the Army parade celebrating 250 years of the Army and the No Kings protest. But demonstrators rallied against Trump. The media loved to cover it, highlighting how many people, thousands showing up. Now, there were some of these protests that turned violent. Officials in Seattle specifically estimated that there were more than 70,000 people attending the rally downtown. Again, the media loving it. In New York City, marchers in the crowd that stretched for blocks. But there was patriotic symbols too. Lee Griswold and Amber Lurie, who marched in suffragette white dresses, brought 250 American flags to hand out to people in the crowd. So that is I'm not going to go through each. They went through each major city to highlight what they were like. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. We'll talk about it. We've got a lot of comments coming in. Keep them coming in. We'll read them when we come back. We're running just a little bit late. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox.
Advanced robotic surgery is now available in the Southern Tier. With the Da Vinci Surgical System, experienced local surgeons at UR Medicine St. James and Jones Memorial Hospitals can perform minimally invasive procedures with greater precision.
That means less pain, shorter hospital stays, and a faster recovery so you can get back to life sooner.
Trust the expertise of your local surgeons and the most advanced technology for your surgery.
You no longer need to travel for cutting-edge surgical care.
Visit robotics.urmc.edu for more information.
I'm Christy Kager from Piper Insurance, talking about the real-life savings of people you know.
Kathleen, Andre, Celine, and Melina of Corning were thrilled when they switched their insurance to Piper Insurance. We also saved Toninos and Horseheads more than $1,500 on their insurance. We'd love to save you money too.
As a local independent insurance agency, we'll shop more than 12 insurance companies to find you a great price with good coverage. Piper Insurance. We make insurance easy.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
First you hear it, then you feel it. That's the crunchy, melt-in-your-mouth feeling of Ritz Toasted Chips.
If you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Wow, we got a lot of viewer comments. This is the Stu Benz Senior Services Fund section of our program, where we read your comments on the air. Let's get right to them. First up, I appreciate you showing the Phil Palmisano clip, and I really appreciate him. That's very nice. I had texted Phil earlier to let him know how much you all appreciated me playing that press conference on the HEAT Act, and he was very grateful that we played it, and I'm glad that we were able to. Ken writes in, on Meet the Depressed, I actually heard Amy Klobuchar inadvertently tell the truth. Kristen Welker asked her if she was in fear of being attacked due to the political murders in Minnesota. She said she wasn't worried for herself or other political figures, but she is worried for the innocent people. The only thing I can take away from that Freudian slip is that she knows that the other political figures she is close to aren't innocent. Thank you, Ken. Comment from a different viewer. It wasn't a dictator parade with intercontinental missiles. It wasn't meant to be a threat, but a celebration. Absolutely. Comment from a different viewer. Democrat Party has destroyed itself from within. I actually have a piece on that. It's interesting you say that. I think I do. I can't remember if it printed out or not, but very much in line with what you're saying, that they have destroyed their party from within, and there's no clear. Here it is, infighting, and it's from the Hill, the far left Hill. Infighting jeopardizes hopes of the Democratic Party comeback. We'll talk about that in just a moment, so thank you. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. This no kings phrase falls so flat. A king is a king by noble birth, which Trump is not. If it refers to the No Kings Act that the Democrats are pushing, they should call it No Republican Kings, because we all know that they would be fine with a Democrat king. Absolutely. They were fine with a puppet, as in like Biden, we know his mental decline. Comment from a different viewer. Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the No King Day conceived as a direct result of the deportation of illegals? Though I wholeheartedly agree with President Trump's policies, I do think he might consider becoming a little less aggressive. However, I am concerned that an illegal lunatic lived openly right down the highway in Endicott, just across the river from where I grew up. That guy murdered 25 people, I think it was, and had his victims' faces tattooed on his person. Thanks, Governor Hochul, for protecting us with your sanctuary cities and criminal-loving, anti-law-abiding policies. We really appreciate it. Dripping with sarcasm. Thank you very much. Yeah, that story from Endicott, I guess I missed that, and the media doesn't like to really cover those stories, but that was really interesting. When was it Congressman Langworthy who brought that up at the hearing with Hochul? I think it was, but yeah, terrifying story. Comment from a different viewer. My knee-jerk reaction when I first heard about the planned military parade was not enthusiastic because of our $35 trillion debt that said we need a strong military and we need to show it off, because we really are in uncharted times. We need strength and we need to show our support. I felt that it was a positive, feel-good, and informative event with its history show. Thank you very much. And finally, in this segment, and we have other comments coming in this segment, though, the last one, we need more politicians that have common sense. And I think that's in reference to playing Assemblyman Phil Palmisano's press conference. Okay, to tie this in with what the one viewer said, intra-party fighting is threatening to stall the Democrat Party's efforts to rebuild 7 months after President Trump's sweeping general election victory. The party has also been roiled by revelations and questions about the last months of former President Biden's administration and whether he was in the midst of a cognitive decline. And I want to say that's over the last months. I mean, first of all, you've got to think back as almost a full 4 years where people were commenting. I think it was a full 4 years where people were commenting that they noticed a difference. When I think the biggest red flag was when he wouldn't give this Super Bowl interview. But to just say it was the last few months, it was much longer than that where people were worried about his cognitive decline. But they also have to contend with a number of high-profile primaries in the year ahead. And ousted Democrat National Committee Vice Chair David Hogg has been at the center of controversy, using his political group to challenge incumbent House Democrats. Yeah, that's been very interesting with David Hogg, where I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the chair of the Democratic National Committee, almost in tears, blaming him for kind of taking the spotlight away from the chair. But history suggests Democrats have a chance to win back the House in next year's midterm elections, since the president's party usually loses seats in such cycles. Boy, that is so often repeated, isn't it? Especially when a Republican wins. They were saying it practically on election night, that, well, in the midterms. Some Democrats acknowledge that bad vibes are hanging over their party, even as they argued things are brighter than they appear. Quote, the narrative right now is we're a bunch of losers running around like chickens with our heads cut off. And I don't think that's the case, said Mike Nellis, a Democrat strategist and former senior advisor to former Vice President Kamala Harris. Well, if he knows how to win, He's here's a guy you want to listen to, huh? He suggested some of the party's problems are just typical after a lost presidential election. Quote, "We are a party out of power without a standard bearer, and that isn't going to change until the presidential election." Democrat infighting spilled onto center stage earlier this week when recording a recent DNC call was leaked, revealing DNC Chair Ken Martin, there's a name, venting about his frustration with David Hogg, who denies being the source behind the leak. The audio came out just before DNC officials were set to vote virtually on whether to redo the vice chair elections. And we know Hogg stepped out of that race, didn't want to be a part of it. That video showing Mr. Martin, that audio, nearly crying at his frustration. But anyway, we don't have to go through the whole scenario with David Hogg. But Martin said, some people in D.C. just want to win the argument, but I'm focused on winning elections. Since the start of the year, Democrats have an unprecedented track record of 30 wins and overperformances in races across the country, up and down the ballot. That's what I was elected to do, and we're doing it. Now we are laser focused on winning in November of 2025 and the midterms in 2026. Still, with DNC tensions laid bare and finger pointing over Biden's presidency persisting, Democrats have looked anything but unified from the outside. Democrats push back on the notion that they are the only party that is facing disunity at the moment amid the feud between Musk and Trump. Trump's approval rating and the decision desk Hill average ticked down to 47.5%, 2 points less than his disapproval rating of 49.5%. Quote, Donald Trump has had the 2 worst weeks of his presidential term, Nellis said. And immediately Donald Trump decides to execute an attempt to change the conversation to immigration. As always, he's taken it too far. Anyway, so the infighting destroying, according to the Hill, the Democrat Party. But we saw the No Kings protests, major crowds, violence in some states, destruction. While many of the events reportedly remained largely peaceful, several cities saw violent altercations, including a vehicular assault in Virginia and a shooting in Utah. The protests took place in hundreds of U.S. cities, according to Reuters, with large-scale gatherings reported in major hubs such as Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Austin, Texas, Portland, Oregon, and New York. In Portland, officers deployed tear gas and flash grenades, with demonstrators breaching an immigration and customs enforcement facility, according to the Daily Mail, which reported the 4 police officers were injured during the clash. So that's why you'll hear the mostly peaceful protests. We're going to talk about that. We've got a lot of comments to read when we come back. Stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV. Big Fox. We'll be right back.
Hey, Aunt Camille. What kind of kid was my dad growing up? Was he cool?
Cool? He kept his room really neat.
Well, was he one of the coolest kids in school?
Yeah, well, he made an impression.
Tell me some of the cool things he did.
He once stood up to the neighborhood bully. She didn't stand a chance.
Wow, I hope I can be that cool.
You already are, Peter. Way cooler.
Oh, thanks, Dad. Hurt in a car? Call my cool dad, Willie Matar, 444-4444.
In today's securing your business is more important than ever. Protected with Boss Security's state-of-the-art alarm systems. When seconds matter, trust the experts. Boss Security is proud to safeguard local businesses across the Twin Tiers. Contact Boss Security today.
Every great performance starts with a great night's sleep. Thanks to new Natrol Sleep and Restore, which helps me be this me, this me, this me. I'm kidding. To be my best at all of this, I have to be my best at this. Every great night's sleep starts with Natrol.
New Natrol Sleep and Restore for your ultimate restorative sleep.
The Twitter's first prime-time local news. Catch weather, local and national news, events, and more with our anchors, Dante, Haley, and Ann. Find out what's happening in your community and more by watching Big Fox 10 p.m. News on
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio. Let's go to the Steuben Senior Services Fund section of our program, where we read viewer comments. One person writing in, we need these shirts. And the shirt says, Jesus is my king, Trump is my president. That is a nice shirt. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Rick writes in, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Rick. This is my pre-parade take that he wrote on Friday night. Quote, we shouldn't have to publicly flex our muscles because the world already knows how powerful our military is. Russia, China, and North Korea, for instance, need to have military parades so they think they're tough. But hey, you know Donald. He can't be outdone by his heroes. Enjoy your birthday parade, Donald. Now, post-parade, I am really happy for all the military personnel involved in the event and for all our servicemen and women. For Trump, well, I hope he impressed Crazy Putin, Rocket Man, and Iron Fist Z. I'm sure he'll say millions of people were there and nobody has ever seen anything like it. Such division in this country, just horrible. How do we fix it? It's broke. We have to find a way. Protesters in LA chucking things at the cops aren't the problem. Some people show up just to do this kind of thing. And no, Newsom didn't hire them to throw rocks and bottles at the police. Come on now. Well, I never said that. But, and then talk a little bit about Israel. Probably going to skip the Israel part. Rick, I hope you don't mind. I don't think the U.S. needs to get involved in Israel's latest mess. Okay, that's what he said. We'll keep it at that. And is Trump trying to drag Putin in this Israel-Iran feud as a mediator? Who the heck would listen to anyone about how to end a war when that person is in a war that won't end either? Putin. Let's all have a good week. Thanks, Rick. Comment from a different viewer. Another strong no vote for a school budget that doesn't look much different from the previous one. That's very true. If it weren't for the money coming from Corning Incorporated, I mean, I think without that, they only cut, what, 400,000, something like that. Another, moving forward, same viewer. Aren't the No Kings people the same ones who looked at Obama like he was the second coming? Thanks for being the best way to start the morning. Well, isn't that nice of you? Thank you very much. We're going to count that as a wave. Making my day this morning. All right, comment from a different viewer. Biden had 2 military parades. One was in Afghanistan with our equipment. The other was Russia crossing the Ukrainian border. Good point. And finally, Mark writes in, Frank, how did the cardboard boat regatta go? And did you enjoy it? Have a great day. Well, thanks, Mark. You have a great day. Yes, we had a blast. It went fantastic. The weather was actually quite beautiful. A very big crowd. They were predicting rain, but never really got rained on. A lot of fun. I'm telling you, wait till you see the broadcast on Big Fox, and I'll, of course, tell you when that's going to air. There is a couple boats that, I mean, you could take out on an all-day fishing expedition. You had a couple that had, I think that one had almost 10 people in it, stayed afloat the whole time. No, it was a blast. It was a perfect day. Another great cardboard boat regatta, and the Mayor DiNardo, was kind enough to give me collector's item, Lori DiNardo pen. So I've got her pen, and I appreciate that. We had a nice chat, and everybody involved did just a great job. It went on without a hitch, and didn't feel like work. It was just a whole lot of fun. So thank you. And I see other comments coming in. We'll get to those when we come back. But first, tying in with a little bit with what Rick had to say when it comes to the protest. When we come back, we'll actually talk about it because I don't want to run too late. But John Fetterman and Bill Maher were talking about the chaos and the riots in L.A. and how Democrats are handling it. We'll talk about that when we come back and read your comments. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Attention, Elmeron may lead to vision loss.
If you have suffered vision problems after taking Elmeron to treat bladder pain, call the Hearn Law Firm. Elmeron may be responsible for your vision problems, and you may deserve compensation for your injuries.
If you took Elmeron and now have vision problems, call the Hearn Law Firm at 888-308-3866 right now. You could find out if you qualify in less than 2 minutes. Call 888-308-3866 for your free case review.
I have moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, but thanks to Skyrizi and clearer skin, I'm all in. With Skyrizi, I saw dramatically clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
With Skyrizi, nothing on my skin means everything. Ask your dermatologist about Skyrizi today. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
Fox 10 p.m. News is the first primetime local news for the Twin Tiers. Our reporters, Haley and Dante, scour the Southern Tier to bring you up-to-date news regarding local businesses, economics, and how national decisions impact our area. If you're not near a TV, don't worry. You can also catch our 10 p.m. news live on WYDCTV.com/livestream. Don't miss Big Fox 10 p.m. news on WYDC, on TV, or our website.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horsenets. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. This is our Stu Ben Senior Services Fund section of the program, where we read viewer comments. Let's get right to it. One viewer says, and I'll wait for your response, Rick. He says, Rick, get a life that lives in reality. Thank you very much. Coming from a different viewer. Oh, Ken writes in, we watched most of the Army 250th anniversary parade. It was a nice event, and the changes to the uniforms and military equipment was informative. It's a shame that half of the nation refuses to be patriotic and only want to focus on trying to damage the current administration. The fireworks at the end were spectacular. We would have loved to see everything in person. Yes, that would have been an amazing event to attend in person, I would agree. And I would even say it's not just that half the nation refuses to be patriotic. It's the people that actually mock and ridicule patriotism, that they will laugh at you openly if you proudly wave the flag or have some type of patriotic symbol on your clothing. Comment from a different viewer. Just an FYI, the state of Utah is an open carry state for pistols. Thank you very much. And finally, this comment, Frank, does Frankly Speaking have any merchandise for sale? If so, I would wear it proudly. Love the show. Well, thank you. We don't, but I do have, that was really kind of you. If you want to send me your address, I'd be happy. The only thing that we have is these stickers that our engineer got made for us, the Frankly Speaking stickers. I could send you a couple of those if you could put on your drinkware, maybe, that you bring into work or whatever. So just send me your address. I'll send you a couple of them. So thank you for that. Very kind of you. John Fetterman and Bill Maher agree that the chaos and the rioting in L.A. and the way the Democrats are reacting to it will be, quote, good for Trump. And we had talked about many on the left criticizing the protesters who were flying the Mexican flag as the cars burned in the background, saying that that would be propaganda. These were Democrats saying this, be propaganda that Trump could use. Maher saying, I agree, when they see it in a campaign ad, when they see the guy with the Mexican flag and the car burning behind him, it's going to be good for Trump. Reflecting on the political impact of such imagery, he asked, and those optics, I just run that through, like what's the people in Scranton might see those kind of images and what those kind of videos, what will they think? Maher then emphasized that Fetterman's views on free speech and immigration still align with core Democrat values, and those who are calling him out are doing so because he's not a progressive, adding that we don't even know what that term means in today's political climate. Fetterman saying he believes himself to be an old school Democrat. He said, that's the thing. It's like your values. I don't think they've changed. I know mine haven't changed. But I think our party has changed, and now you actually kind of point out and call out a lot of these things, you know, to take a political price for a lot of these things. Trump vows Iran and Israel will make a deal as strikes continue after the IDF warned there is a point of no return. Netanyahu said we will not have a second Holocaust. Says clear intel warned Iran was on the verge of a nuclear weapon. He also accused Iran of being behind the 2 assassination attempts on President Trump. That does it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Thank you for all the great comments. Thank you for everybody being so involved this morning. We had a blast. Oh, by the way, AOC warns that Cuomo will use New York City's mayoral win as a stepping stone to the presidency, to run for president. How about ending on that note? Probably not the ideal way to end. Have a great day, everyone. We will be back tomorrow morning starting at 6 a.m. with Frankly Speaking only on WYDC TV. Big Fox, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Look forward to it already.
Scamming seniors is a huge problem today. Worldwide, seniors lost $4.8 billion to scammers in 2024. The Steuben County Office for the Aging is here to help. Come to our seminar recognizing and avoiding financial scams and identifying elder abuse. Monday, June 18th at the Centenary United Methodist Church in Bath from 1:30 to 4 p.m. Learn how to identify scams, how to protect yourself, and fraud watch tips. Come to Centenary United Methodist Church in Bath, New York from 1:30 to 4 p.m. on June 18th. Learn more. Go to steubencountiny.gov/235.
Hi, this is the owner of Hesselson's in Amara Heights. At Hesselson's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hesselson's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new and expanded showroom. Come in today and see why owning a sauna is the start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hesselson's is still locally and family-owned and operated in Amara Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
you're not going to gain any votes by being on the fence on that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, it's funny. Our town clerk, she's friends with the Hornby town clerk.
Yeah.
And you know, she said, our town clerk, she's very high energy. And you said the Hornby one is too, but she's like, the town clerk, she says she has to be like that to compliment Jason because he's so like.
It's so funny. Like, well, he gave that speech when we were getting petitions, and he even said in the middle of the speech, "This is so weird. Like, I'm nervous." So I could tell he like. You can feel when someone doesn't want to do the interview because at first, like, well, I might be late or I might not be able to make it to kind of break them. I'm like, oh, he's going to be a no-show. He did show up, and he was nervous as hell, you know, and that's fine. So I'm not saying he avoided me because I didn't reach out to him, but I heard through the grapevine that he was like, I hope Frank doesn't call. I'm like, free publicity, bud. Come on.
I would really be going all in now because now that she's got this.
I know, and he should be letting people know.
I wonder. I think they have their meeting. What is it tomorrow? And I wonder like how she'll handle that or town meeting.
I know that our town in Irwin, they had to do something at the Corning Town Hall, get together with supervisors or something. I'm like, was she there? They're like, no. I'm like, oh, dang it. But that was like 2 days after she got.
Oh, do you think is she gonna come back on or no? You're
no, I haven't reached out. When I heard that he didn't want to do it, I'm like, I'm just not gonna reach out to her. If she does, then I'll reach out to Justin. And say, but we're getting crunch time.
It's pretty much.
Right now, you got a good time because tomorrow I don't have anybody except for you.
Okay.
But if when Kristen's on, I'm gonna have to play that before Joe Sembolinski's interview.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm gonna have to play Cool if he does come on before
Tuesday.
Yeah. I don't even know because Drenald's already booked up Monday.
Oh, he'll be on Monday.
Yeah, so I don't know what Cool's gonna do because I can't play him before Allard, and I have Allard on Wednesday. I don't know. Let me worry about that. That's my job. That would be awkward, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be.
Anything you want me to bring up specifically? No.
No, nothing. Whatever you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Normal thing, right?
Yeah, I guess.
How's Jenny doing? Working hard?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, she's great.
I haven't seen her in a little while. We got to meet up. We got lunch or dinner with an old coworker about 2 months ago. But
okay.
We got talking about your campaign.
Oh, did you?
You know, because she's on the board and I'm on a board, and Betty Coco, who we used to work with, is on the city council in Corning.
Right,
So we all sit around there and complain about local stuff.
Local
Probably the most boring conversation that you could ever have, but we love it. You know, gossip, all the gossip.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. I gotta move that just a little bit. All right, kind of normal shtick. All right.
Okay.
You know all the rules.
Right.
Okay. Oh, I never stopped recording from my show.